Quinn watches this show. Hi, Quinn.
Hi, Quinn.
So, and
love you.
I don't.
Okay. So you would know that you were very right and very wrong. All right, Avery. Our first section of Riyadh Masters is done. We got through the play-in stage and the 4th, 5th place tiebreakers. So we can now talk about the actual groups. How do you think you did? Do you remember your predictions, by the way, for what the plans were? Before we continue the rest of the podcast, we're going to take a moment to shout out today's sponsor, Battlesmiths. It's a fresh take on RPGs, blending crafting with strategic combat and captivating story. You'll forge powerful gear, outfit your team, and lead your custom-built squad into battle. Managing a fantasy workshop and fielding heroes. Sounds familiar to us Dota players, right, Avery?
And if you're looking for a game to fill those queue times or cool down after an intense pub match, Battlesmiths is your perfect companion. What sets it apart is its depth. You need to carefully consider classes and their gear, unit placement, and when to use consumables. And the best part is that you can make meaningful progress in short bursts, which is perfect for those in-between match moments. Plus, Battlesmiths is not just about solo play. You can reign supreme in online PvP as well.
That's right. So there it is. Join Battlesmiths now on Android, iOS, Mac, and PC to hammer out your destiny. And for our viewers, use code TundraCraft for an exclusive starter pack. Thank you, Battlesmiths, so much for coming out and sponsoring this show. And let's get back to it.
Yeah, most of them, I think.
Okay. So you would know that you were very right and very wrong.
Well, I'm very wrong, I think, is a stretch. I think,
on some teams, you were very wrong.
Yeah, I was more close than wrong.
Okay,
that's how I would put it. Which, that's what we're going for here. I also did say that those bottom... I feel like I was pretty good at predicting who was going to be in the bottom 3 of each group.
Sure.
But I also said that between those, I was really tough, which was fair. There were some upsets.
Some upsets.
Yeah, there were some upsets.
I'm not sure I would call them upsets, but I will agree with you. They were just unknown quantities going into it.
I'm upset.
Couldn't really decide.
So it's an upset.
You're upset for Jack Chen?
For my boy Jack Chen. Disgraceful exit for my legendary friend Jack Chen.
Yeah, that is not a legendary way to go out. Bottom of the groups. Group A, G2IG, bottom.
I don't know what happened. That team just crumbled. I'm upset about my NA boys.
You're just moving along. Damn, that was fast.
Well, it's Lau and the boys.
It was G2IG, goodbye. And on to
what
now.
Is there to say, man? Played like ass. I mean, goddamn. It's sad to watch.
Well, I was going to say that I was going to wrap up Group A in that.
Right, fine, we'll go back to Group A then, man.
G2IG, you were wrong about them. They were not top 3. They were the bottom team. And in replacement of them, you thought maybe Blacklist would go out. Turns out Blacklist would end up making it second in their group. I think they went 1-3-1, something like that. Not too bad. So they, but there was a lot of unknown things that was going on with these qualifiers. So, and you're also right about, I think you had Virtus Pro also on the elimination chopping block, and they did end up getting eliminated. Not in the bottom of the group, but in the 4th, 5th place.
Yeah, they just crumbled. I don't know.
Yeah.
If your captain's doing interviews and he's saying, we don't know what the hell we're doing, your chances are probably pretty small.
It's a bad sign.
Yeah, that team's gone. They're disbanded.
Yeah.
So.
And then
salute the Virtus Pro, Fallen Brothers.
On the other side,
legendary Jack. Jack was just messaging me, trying to hang out tonight, told him we're recording this. Said, okay, back to the grind. So that man, he don't stop.
Don't stop.
Straight back to Dota grind. I respect that.
Well, is the Dota grind or the finding a new team grind?
Potentially both. Maybe he's trying to find some pub stars out there.
No, okay. I mean, there have been a lot of questions about how do organizations scout for talent.
That's right.
The G2IG likes to have a very hands-on approach. If they can survive a pub with Jack Chen, it's like if you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball.
So I asked Jack if the org likes that we meme on him.
Uh-huh.
And apparently he said like his coworkers all they watch Dota streams and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yo, why is everybody always asking? Why are they always talking about you, Jack? They never talk about our players or anything. They're always just talking about our manager, Jack. They think it's kind of funny. So I guess we're doing a good service. I asked him if it was good or not. Kind of dodged that, but
I mean,
whatever, you know.
maybe we're making a reputation for him, but apparently he's making a reputation for himself at the office because that's where he plays all the Dota. So, you know.
Enough about Jack, though. No one comes to this podcast for Jack.
I think a few comments will be
Nobody cares about Jack.
countering that.
But
But okay, well,
go
Group
fuck
B.
yourself, Jack.
You had Group B.
Ruined my prediction.
Your top of the group was Heroic, Quest, and Aurora.
And who was top of the group, Austin?
Heroic, Quest, and Aurora.
Oh, wow. Hey, claps all around.
Good work. Good work.
Easy.
Got it on the money.
Easy.
You did have Mouse getting eliminated, but we did talk about Azure.
Yeah, I said it was one of those two.
Yeah, so Azure, they bombed out.
I was surprised Mouse pulled it through in the clutch. Actually didn't look too bad. Had some good games towards the end.
I mean, that may also be more so about their opponent as well.
I think they were playing well.
Yeah, okay.
Ulnit stepped up. The guy looked pretty good.
He did.
So I think it was similar in like the TI quals. That team starts shaky, and once they start figuring out some stuff, they look better. Not saying they're going to win the whole thing, but like, yeah, they pulled it together when they needed to. Azure just more disgrace for the Chinese scene right now.
I mean,
Holy
China and North
crumbling.
America did not walk away from this clean
No.
at all. I mean, North America, you only had one team, and that team did not get bottom of the group, at least, unlike Azure.
That's a dub. We take those.
But still ultimately got eliminated by a Chinese team. So
Not a dub.
that's a pretty
I mean,
bad
Zhao 8,
L.
though, legendary coach and captain, TI winner Zhao 8. So
sure. Do you think LGD is a legendary team?
no, probably not.
No.
But they're not as legendary as legendary manager KVQ Jack Chen.
It's true.
So what can you do? But my
So on
predictions.
the scoreboard of G2IG
I feel
versus
like my
LGD.
predictions for this group were pretty spot on.
Yeah, I think for the most part.
And I'll even add some salt to them.
Okay.
Quinn watches this show. Hi, Quinn.
Hi, Quinn.
Go fuck yourself. And
Love you.
I don't. And Quinn said that my prediction that PSG Quest could potentially be a top 4 team
Mm-hmm.
was ludicrous. Actually, I'll just read what he wrote. What did he write? Let's link it.
Oh, shit.
I'll
Getting a direct
I'll bring out the
quote
receipts
From
yeah.
Quinn Callahan here.
Well, because it's Quinn, right? So the wording's like, oh, it was on.
Yeah, he's got some
man.
peculiar vocabulary to add to the salt.
Oh no, I can't look. Oh wait, can I?
Just play some elevator music while we wait for Avery, who came to this podcast not prepared, unlike me.
Okay.
He always gives me shit for not
Here's
being
the Quinn
prepared.
quote.
Yet he has no responsibilities.
Bro.
And still.
Bro, in all caps.
Bro.
Bro. How are you saying Quest has a shot at making top 4? Are you smoking crack? If you're casting finals, I'll see you there. Nothing short of finals.
Okay. All
So
right.
he's also predicting that Gaiman's going to make the finals.
Well, now that man's smoking crack.
I said some stuff, but I'm not going to say that because I don't leak DMs. And he said,
I don't leak DMs, continues to leak DMs.
okay, actually, I'm not going to read the next part because that was pretty brutal flame. But the point of that, that was not appropriate. But the point is, he thought I was smoking crack.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if you if you
Now,
are
I'm not
indeed smoking crack in
saying
Saudi Arabia.
that Quest is going to get top 4.
You're just saying it's a possibility.
Yeah, I said it's in the realm.
Yeah, and they made it through Group B. They got second. They went 2
right.
and 3.
I still think they
73
could get top
total
4.
game scores.
I said they're a lower bracket slaying team. If they get in that lower bracket and they start running,
and they just needed to dodge the
chopping block.
6 teams, I
Right.
think you said,
who aren't
that
going to be in the lower bracket.
would all beat.
So we'll see. There's some spice now because let's say Gaiman end up playing Quest.
That is true. That is one
Mm.
thing that we actually do not get to
Mm.
talk about. Maybe a bit of planning error on my part because we do not actually know the teams in the groups because they draw those.
Yeah, they don't draw yet. But I hope Gaiman plays Quest now. I'm going to look forward to that match. If my boy Quinn loses, ooh, that's going to feel good right there. That's going to feel like some juice straight into my veins. You know what I'm saying, boys?
So what did you make of the play-in stage all around? Because I
Wait, so why are you shooting on my predictions? I feel like I got like 75% of them right.
Well, it was most notably that you were very wrong about G2IG and very wrong about G2IG and Blacklist.
But that's, I mean, basically I predicted everything correct except Jack fucked me again. So it's average day in the life of my career right there.
Come on, get some credit to Blacklist.
Yeah,
they
did
like
well. They did well. We'll see what they do in the groups, though. We'll see what they do.
Okay, so out of this play-in stage, we didn't watch all the games. It was on a few different streams. But which teams do you think really stood out?
I think Entity and Quest looked the strongest. Entity, Quest, and then Heroic a little below them. But honestly, dude, I was not feeling Heroic, man. A lot of those late games were just sus. There was like bad feeds. I feel like that group was weaker. So I still like that team. I think they're good, but they were not playing as crisp. I think those two look the best of everybody in the plains. I think Entity and Quest have a real shot of going deeper. I think Aurora can still go deep because, again, I still had him as a top 4 possibility. I mean, it's just a wild card of a team. And I think, man, who's in? This LGD squad. They got something going, dude.
Did you all of a sudden start believing them? Because you didn't believe in them yesterday.
I'm telling you, dude. There's something about this team, like Zhao 8. This motherfucker don't go away. That's all I know. Like, this guy just don't go away. He just starts figuring some stuff out. I'm telling you, this team's gonna take some games off people in the groups. I don't know if they're gonna like make it through, but
I can see them taking games off of any team that plays slow and scared.
Yeah.
And that is possible.
Like, this team's won their last like 5 games, right? And they're going to go into groups and they're going to play some team that hasn't played any.
Yeah, that's
They're going to whoop their ass. They're going to 2-0 somebody and ruin their day, and then they're going to lose like the next 6. But that first team is going to get whooped. They don't know what's happening because they're going to give PYW as Tiny. You know, they're going to give New as Mars because we don't have to research them. They're some stupid playing team. I've been screaming Team Spirit every day, so I know the meta. No, you don't know anything. Zhao 8's been cooking in the lab. He's about to bust out a can of Amphin whoop ass. You know what I'm saying?
Amphin whoop ass.
We're moving on. What's the next segment?
Well, we can't predict the groups because we don't know half the teams.
Oh, I can predict the groups.
Okay.
Give me some teams.
Okay, so Group A has. I mean, one way we could do this is just which one of these teams is actually going to be top 4.
Wait, so is it bottom 4 just eliminated?
No, bottom 2 is eliminated.
Yeah, and then
top 4 goes to upper bracket.
Just tell me a team name and I'll tell you if it's upper bracket, lower, or eliminated.
Okay, well, we will start with Group A then. Okay, Gaming Gladiators.
Upper bracket. I don't want to say it, but
OG.
Lower bracket.
Ooh, Falcons.
Upper bracket.
Spirit.
They're going to win. So, of course, they're going to be upper bracket. Why even ask me this shit?
Do you think that this group is stronger than Group B? Because the Group B is, we don't know the seeded teams, obviously, but just based off of invited teams. Bet Boom, Liquid, Tundra, Extreme.
Oh, yeah, it's way stronger, dude.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, you have Spirit and Falcons in the same group.
Yeah,
that's pretty intimidating.
Not even close.
Okay, so of the Group B teams, Bet Boom.
Upper bracket.
They don't choke that early. Liquid.
Lower bracket.
Say it. You know you're going to say it.
I'm going to say it. I don't even care what's wrong.
You know it's lower bracket.
But I actually think they're going to be like the last. They're going to be in some stupid tiebreaker.
Yeah, probably.
And win tiebreaker for upper. That's what I actually think is going to happen.
Tundra.
Upper bracket.
Okay. And Extreme.
Tundra's like the ultimate like 7-3 team. Like, I don't even know how many, they're like that team that's like looking good, but then like fumbles like some 1 or 2 series stretch in there.
Yeah.
But they're going to be up. What was the other team?
Extreme.
Upper. I mean, upper. Come on, man.
Okay.
Why are you even asking?
So that means that of the invited teams, you have only put 2 of them in the lower bracket, 1 for each group.
Mm-hmm.
So of the play-in teams, which one of these are going to end up in the upper bracket then?
Entity Quest, easy.
Entity and Quest.
Actually,
they may, and just so you know, they may end up in the same group depending on draws.
Yeah, okay. So Entity,
give me like a
Entity Quest, Aurora.
Aurora, okay.
Yeah.
You really don't believe in Heroic?
I'm not convinced, man. I'm not convinced.
Okay.
I believed in them more at the start of this tournament. I believe in them. They somehow got top of their group and like convinced me less. I don't know how it's possible.
Yeah,
like,
it is very surprising because they dropped a game against Quest. They dropped a game against Aurora. They didn't drop any of the games against the weaker teams. So maybe you didn't like play-wise. Maybe you think they're shaky, but results-wise, it actually says they're pretty consistent.
I mean, it's between those four, but no, actually, I don't know, man. That might be seeding dependent. It depends what group Quest ends up in. Heroic, Entity, Quest, Aurora, man. That's tough, actually. That's tough, man.
And then we're going to eliminate 4 teams.
I like Analog. That's why I'm wavering. I think Analog's been playing really well. I actually think he's like a top 8 mid this event. He keeps playing like he's playing.
Okay.
But I think Heroic's just been shaky in the late game. And I don't see them running the better teams over as much. Like they run the newer teams over.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Who's getting eliminated?
Who do I have left to choose from?
So of the teams that you have left, I will start with the decider teams who squeaked on by.
Oh, it's LG, Mouse, or those 4.
Mouse.
I think Mouse is getting eliminated, unfortunately.
Okay. There is Blacklist and Beast Coast.
Yeah, I think it's Mouse and Beast Coast. C seems to be doing better than I expected, so they have some meta thing going for them. Was not super impressed by Beast Coast either.
It's been a while since Southeast Asia did good as a group.
Yeah.
It was just like when Southeast Asia did well, it was just talent, basically.
I mean, they got something going for them. I don't exactly know what it is yet, but maybe it's just China was like really bad, but something's cooking for them. So I'll see what it is. See what it is. I'll have some faith for now.
All right, fair enough. The how did you feel about the plans all around, like hero wise, like play wise? Do you think that I struggled to see? I agree with your assessment, basically, that the invited teams are mostly going to stay in the upper bracket with this next group stage. I did not feel very strongly about many of the play-in teams and like, oh yeah, these guys are going to contest and actually like go deep in the tournament. I did not feel strongly about pretty much any of them in that regard. Yeah, I was not convinced by gameplay or really drafting by a lot of teams. I think Entity looked the most solid. They had a very clear idea of what they wanted to play and why and how to use it, which is a good sign. And I think he was maybe the best player on the play-in. Yeah, he looked really good. So I think that team has a good shot. Yeah. But everybody else, we'll see how good these other teams are. Like maybe they're just not as good as we think. Maybe the meta is just more chaotic, but I got a feeling they're gonna prevail. Not convinced at all. Not convinced at all. I mean, if G2IG is not doing well, then Godspeed to the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? If my boy Jack can't make it through, it's a minefield out there. Rough times. The man who's played the most Dota in the building can't win. Must be a meta fault. Yeah. I mean, you were up here. We had a 2-hour commiseration with Jack. It really was. Yeah. It was 2 hours of just like the old days. Jack whining about his cursed nature as a man, and my telling him you enable him. You agree. How did I enable him? You specifically said we walked out of the gym. You said, "I don't know what to tell you, Jack. We are cursed men." Yeah, that was a meme. Then I said it was just him. Yeah, okay. Because everybody who gets away from Jack does well. So. No. You said specifically once you quit, that's when things go better. Yeah. All the players that quit the team went on to do well. You quit playing, became a caster, you're doing better. You have to mentally resign yourself to, okay, I'm done. And then things go up from there. I see. You know?
That's what happened to Quinn, right? He's like, I'm just going to retire.
It's true. He was talking about retiring.
And then all of a sudden, hey, you want to play on this European team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Snaking, I'm done, man. I can't do this anymore. And then it's like,
was Snaking actually going to retire? Do you think he actually thought about that?
I think he debated it at one point. I don't think it's seriously though.
Sure.
That guy kind of would have just grinded no matter what, but he was in a rough spot.
Yeah.
AUI, I'm just going to become talent again.
That's true. And he goes on to coach a TI winning team.
See, that's the secret truth of life. Just give up.
Just give up, kids.
Things get better.
Just don't keep trying.
Yeah.
Just give up.
Trying's a scam, honestly.
Yeah.
More I've ever tried anything, the worse it's gotten.
Okay. So last episode, we answered a bunch of your guys' questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But we still have more questions, as we alluded to. So we only got through about a quarter of them. And more filled up this last episode. And I'm going to ask a question from last episode. In fact, I'm going to ask two questions because GoGetto said, GoGetto26391 said he was going to be greedy and ask two questions. And I liked both the questions, so I will ask both of them. Question for both the boys. See, I was also listening to you. He noticed that you liked the boys thing, so he immediately pandered to that.
Good sign. Pandering
what are your favorite parts of being on LAN outside of the game/crowd, especially with this EWC being so long compared to shorter tournaments? So the cop-out answer is, what's the best part about it being at LAN? It's actually not a cop-out. It's a legit answer. It's like the fans. Being able to have a crowd is amazing. It makes everything awesome. But without that, do you like being online?
You get to see everybody.
That's true.
Get to see people you've known for 10 years who
Yeah.
still disappoint you, like my boy Jack Chen, who ruined all my predictions. I get to punch him for messing up my day.
Yeah.
You get to see old teammates, eat lunch with some pals, hang out with your talent boys.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
I feel like it's more enjoyable on the talent side because you talk about all your connections with players, but you don't really get to hang out with them until they lose. Better. And then they've lost, so they're probably not.
I just get to float around from team to team, do whatever I want. Wait until I don't have to get eliminated. It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed the setup here, where like right behind the players, so you can hear them yelling in the game.
Yeah,
I actually enjoy that a lot. Fun. It's been a while since I've been around a Chinese team yelling. It's quite enjoyable. It's really hype. So I actually like that setup. I don't know if that was intentional, but
basically, for those of you guys who don't know, the play-in stage is played in a building where it's set up, if you were to imagine a plus sign or an X, and each one of the divots is where a team plays. So you have 4 different teams playing in that building at once. And some teams, LGD, very loud. They were a winning Chinese team, so probably expecting them to be loud.
Yep.
You had Heroic and Nouns, I believe, were the 2 teams who would always do a huddle, and then they would do a huh. I don't know what they were saying, but
nice one together.
So they got a little hype. You don't usually get to see that much emotion out of Dota players, so anything at all is pretty nice. But that environment is special, right? Because the screaming that goes on, some of it is the fact that the opposing team can hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit. So it actually eggs on some players to be louder and stuff, which obviously in a usual stadium, everyone's wearing these headphones that are blocking out, and there's crowd noise and stage and lights and all these sort of things.
It's good to do. I remember playing against Chinese teams who did that shit, and if you're not used to it the first few times, like you're in the middle of a team fight and these guys jump some dude and they're just screaming.
Yep.
And you actually catch your brain for a second going like, what the fuck are they screaming about?
Mm-hmm.
Are we losing? They know something we don't. And that means you're focusing on that instead of what you're supposed to be doing in that moment.
Yeah.
So that shit works. Not against like more veteran teams, but if you're nervous, you're in an elimination game, it's team morale, man. You're in a competitive arena sport, so any advantage you get is good. That was cool. I like hearing that stuff. Makes it more hype.
Yeah. I would say hanging out with the other talent.
I already said that
constant
one,
highlight.
Thanks for your contribution, Austin.
We get to play games together, which you did not talk about. So if we're playing games that are not Dota, it's great and it's a really fun time. And Owen is usually the one leading that charge.
Yeah, I really enjoy when Owen gets us all to buy a new game to play for 2 hours before he gives up and moves on.
Owen buys into games really easily, and then he'll convince everybody else to play the game with him. And Owen's a fun person to be around, so you naturally do it. But
yeah, he's really fun for my wallet.
Yeah,
really enjoy my wallet.
Whatever,
really
man. You got Steam Cash. You can complain about that.
Thank God it's a summer sale. I'd be toasted by now.
Anyway, so we're playing Inkbound right now. It's like a cooperative, like roguelike game. Me, Fogged. It's the casting duo, actually. Me, Avery,
the
Fogged,
Caster boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Caster boys know how to fun. Together. The analysts are over there still. They're playing their solo queue in this.
Yeah, I mean, the casters
terrible.
Casters are just fun people.
That's true.
Panelists are like, nobody likes these guys. Even the other panelists don't like the other panelists.
It's true. That's why they solo queue instead of party queue.
Casters, we're playing games, we're chilling, packing back a few brewskis, doing it with the boys. And you look over there and there's a bunch of panelists analyzing some stupid Excel spreadsheet, trying to memorize stats so they can look cooler than the guy next to them.
But they don't want to share those stats because,
fucking nerds.
Yeah,
hang out with the casters, guys.
True.
They're the cool dudes.
They are the cool dudes. And Gogeto's second question, do either/both of you feel a responsibility to the viewer to be honest about a team's chances in a game, series/tournament? Or do you feel like making an exciting or entertaining story trumps that duty?
That's actually an interesting question. I mean, definitely one we've thought about, right? I think it depends on the situation, but I think ideally you're trying to be honest up until the point where like that logarithmic curve fades out, I guess, to me.
Okay.
Like at a certain point, it's diminishing returns, to be honest, because it's like, this team has at the point where it eliminates any possibility of a story, then it's not good.
Yes. If you just flat out say the game is over, they have no chance, then there's no more story to tell.
Then the viewer turns the stream off because the game's over.
Yeah.
So you always want there to be a story. So at a certain point, you're saying, this team is super favored. They have a 90% chance to win. This game is like over, but you don't want to say that. And then at a certain point, it should go back to like, what can this team do to come back? Like, here's the miracle setup they need to make a return. Because then if it happens, you have a really cool storyline.
Yes.
So it's more valuable than just saying like, I think this game is absolutely fucking over. I'm going to get up and go to the bathroom, Austin, goodbye. I think if that's what I think.
I think viewers they think that casters overemphasize the possibilities of what can happen in Dota, and that may very well be possible. But I think viewers think that casters think about this stuff more than they actually do. But the truth is that when it comes to where the story matters, is like big tournaments, right? Big tournaments like TI or something like that, right? The story is more important in that aspect. So you would be inclined to be less honest. But at the same time, that big tournament is also a lot of pressure, which makes a lot of mistakes, which increases the chances of upsets happening, right? So you have this what would normally in an online match when everybody's playing just normal, some like 5% chance of a team being able to come back in a game. But because you're on LAN and there's all this pressure and everybody's like playing so safe all the time, like worried about potentially throwing the game, that's where the opportunities come in for teams to be able to make the comeback. So I feel like it actually in some ways where the tournaments, the story feels like, you really want to be able to tell a good story. Well, that naturally happens because the pressure is there to force mistakes. And Dota is a great game for forcing mistakes out of teams and players. That's usually where the best games happen, is games that are just messy and no team is playing perfectly.
I feel like I'm pretty just straightforward.
What's that?
I feel like I'm pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I just tell it how it is. If I don't think the game's over, I just say it's over. As much as I can without being like the game's actually over, because then you're killing viewer interest.
Yeah, yeah.
If I think a team is going to be shit in a tournament, I just say they're shit.
Yeah, I think we are actually both pretty straightforward in that regard, because I know that when I'm straightforward, you try and balance it out. I notice that a lot.
What does that mean, man?
When I am negative about something, you try and balance it out.
Oh yeah, because then I'm just gonna appear to be omega negative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I'm saying in some ways that I force you to be less honest, because I also want a chance to be able to be honest. I also want to express if I think something is garbage, and I think we both do it in taking our turns in that regard. But as far as there is another aspect of this that I think viewers lose sight of, which is that if I am honestly telling you that if I believe a team has a 5% chance at victory, I have no problem saying that. Even if it feels like the game is almost closed out, a 5% sets you up for a great story, right? You said earlier, right? It's like if they hit that 5%, then all of a sudden the story becomes epic. Maybe that only happens 1 out of 20 games, right? But when it does happen, it makes that moment all the better for it. And casting is kind of a long con in that regard, in that you are not trying to, at this point in our careers, we are not trying to sell every game to its utmost percent, because we're going to cast hundreds of games over the course of a year, right? What you're ultimately trying to do is sell the narrative across the entire year. And that a narrative is going to include games that are stomps, the games that are one-sided, games where teams have no chance against the upper dogs. But, like the underdog, if he loses that match 5 times in a row against some other team, like Bet Boom against Falcons, even though they're maybe on a more even playing scale, but let's say Bet Boom was garbage and they've lost their last 6 series against Falcons. Well, the next time that you cast them, you get to set up the story of can Bet Boom finally do it here? And if they do it, then the story is amazing and it all pays off. So the honesty does pay off. You don't have to force it, as long as you are not fixated on the small picture. As long as you get the big picture, then it's all good.
Just depends how you tell it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between seeing this team has like 2% chance to win this, and there's very few teams who have come back from the situation. I feel like that was Azure Ray versus Gaiman at Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah.
They reverse sweep the series, and we were talking about how Gaiman's up 2-0, and they've won so many grand finals, and very few teams have ever come back from a reverse sweep.
We said they were down 4 games in a row against Gaiman Gladiators, 5 games in a row.
So all that is honest, but it's also all set up for if they make the comeback, then it's more hype.
And they did.
Which is, I feel like, how you should set it up, instead of just being like, yeah, they're down 2-0, nobody ever reverse sweep, they're fucked.
Yep.
Even if that was probably what I thought at the moment, which is, I don't know what I exactly thought, but I probably thought they were fucked. But if I go out there and just say they're fucked, then
I think it's
not interesting.
I think you may have also thought they were fucked because of your own natural pessimism, because we were doing the finals, which naturally meant it had to be a 3-0 stomp.
Every final we casted of Gaiman was 3-0.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like when Gaiman was in a final and they were up 2-0, it was just like over.
Yeah, even including the final against Spirit.
Yes.
It's just not the same.
So my gut read was like, oh, they're probably done, But hey, they made the comeback.
Yeah.
So. But I'm not going to go on broadcast and say they're done. They should go home. Because you don't know. Maybe they make a reverse sweep.
Which, again, in a grand finals, I feel like is all the more possible.
Oh, yeah. You should always do it in something like a finals anyway, because the honesty doesn't set you up later anyway. It's just you being useless. Right? Like, your whole job in a finals, I think, is to make the story as interesting as possible, no matter what, given any possible outcome. Like, people care more about the story of a grand final than the truth of a grand final. That's what they're going to remember. Yeah,
maybe the grand final is the exception to the...
That's what I think. Like,
the honesty.
People remember moments from a grand final, not like a game state.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Well, I think that thoroughly answers that question. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the host up here at Riyadh. We're going to keep doing these for 2 more weeks. So we will see you in this same spot, talking more about Riyadh Masters, answering more of your questions. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments below, and like the videos, share it with all your friends, all that sort of jazz. Thank you for watching another episode of Not for Broadcast.